ability to use layouts in Adobe Connect is a fantastic and unique capability that really differentiates the Connect experience from any of its competitors. Layouts allow you to set up the content for each portion of your meeting ahead of time, and then during the meeting, you just switch layouts to show the content at its appropriate time. It's like magic. However, and there's always a however, isn't there? Have you ever noticed that you can be in one layout, maybe sharing your webcam video, and when you switch to another layout and then come back to the original layout, you've lost your video? This may seem like a big problem, but really it's easy to overcome once you understand the concepts involved. The reason the webcam stops is because the video pod doesn't exist in the layout you switch to. See, the video pod exists here in the presentation layout, but when I switch to the screen share layout, there's no video pod. This is really easy to fix. Just make a little room on this layout and go to the Pods menu and add the video pod. But, you say, I don't want the webcam video when I'm sharing my screen. No problem. Just expand the share pod to cover the video pod. Now the video pod is invisible, but in reality it's still there on the layout, right behind the share pod. You can even see on the layout thumbnail that you have overlapping pods. This concept also comes into play when you're alternating between sharing your screen and a presentation. For example, here I am sharing my presentation. Note that I have my pointer tool activated. Now I switch to my screen share layout and share my screen. Then I switch back to my presentation. Notice that my pointer's been deactivated. Now if I switch back to my screen share layout, the screen is no longer being shared either, and I have to start that up again. Here's how to deal with these issues. First, go to the screen share layout and rename your share pod to Screen Share so that you can easily identify it later. Now go back to the presentation layout and from the Pods menu, select to add the Screen Share pod. Make sure the Screen Share pod is not larger than the pod your presentation is in and that it exists within the borders of that presentation. We don't want to see it peeking out from behind the presentation when we send it to the back by clicking on the title bar of the presentation. Now, the screen share pod exists on this layout even though it's not visible. Next, let's add the presentation to the screen share layout. And we'll send that to the background as well. Now we can share both our screen and our presentation and switch back and forth without losing any functionality from layout to layout. You can even add those pods to additional layouts. Just hide them behind other pods and you'll retain all of your functionality. Nice. So now you understand the concept. In order for a video pod or a share pod to continue functioning without losing any functionality, it needs to exist in any layout you will view during your meeting. Simple and easy to do. If you need additional help with Adobe Connect, feel free to contact Intisolve using the info on the screen.